Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. I am with Willie Walls and the great Swami Odell Blocker, and we're doing the way too soon NFC South preview. We'll take a look at these guys. Of course, this is going to change. It's May. We're going to talk about this all off season until we get closer so we can help you with your drafts. But guys, let's just kick it off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady retired for, I think, about a week, maybe more or less. Chris Godwin injured. Antonio Brown, who knows what happened there. But Rob Gronkowski has not signed yet. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Willie, can the Buccaneers make it back to the Super Bowl? Do you trust this team? Are you still a fan of Tom Brady? Are you playing him in DFS? What's your thoughts on this entire Buccaneers team?
No. Yeah, I think they had a lot of question marks. I mean, honestly, I know Brady's been doing it with mirrors, but God dog, man. What is this? He's 44 years old? I mean, man, I tell you, Evans was, his normal self, Fournette since week 4, 20 points a game. I think Fournette, made his mark, but man, I just tell you, I think everybody thought Brady was going away. Then he came back, and man, I think this whole division, I am not feeling this division. Period. I mean, I think Tampa Bay is going to be still the cream of the crop of the division, but this division has gone down.
Well, Swami, Willie's right. This division has gone way down. I mean, Tampa Bay is the class of this division. Let's talk fantasy-wise. Mike Evans, do you still trust him? Fournette comes back for another year. Are you drafting him? Do you feel good about – we know the Buccaneers are going to be good because Tom Brady's there and Todd Bowles is going to do a good job, and the defense is pretty darn solid. But the offense, Swami, are you a believer this year?
I'm a believer in Mr. Tom Brady. Nothing else to talk about. Willie has lost his mind. That offense, again, remember, looked good last year. Godwin got hurt. Brown was dealing with some mental health issues. But the team was still playing really well. Brady had that offense putting up some fantasy numbers. I think with Brown out of the mix, it kind of clears it up a little bit. I think the waters were a little bit muddy. They become a little bit less muddy. I think Gronk, he's going to have some fun. He's going to be Gronk this summer. I think he's going to get ready and get in the camp. And I think he might come back one more year. They got some more records to break. So I like Gronk. I definitely like Tampa to win that division. Why not, Doc?
There's a guy that I can't remember which one of you poo-pooed it. Who was the one that didn't like my call of Russell Gage last year when he went off? Which one of you two? And I know it was one of you two. But I like Russell Gage this year a lot. Maybe it was you, Swami. Yeah, look at you getting pretty quiet there, Swami. Russell Gage comes to Tampa. He is going to be a starter, especially now without Antonio Brown and with Chris Godwin maybe missing some part of the time in the beginning of the season. I think Gage was a really good pickup coming over from Atlanta to come with Tampa Bay, and I think Tom Brady's going to like throwing at him, Swami.
If I didn't like Russell Gage last year, I had reason to. And the reason is his quarterback situation. And guess what? If his quarterback this year is Mr. Tom Brady, Gage, to me, becomes somebody you got to look at. Why wouldn't we? Especially if Godwin's not there. And especially if Gronk, for whatever reason, doesn't come back. You know how he loves to kind of work that short, over the middle, intermediate routes. That's Gage. That's where he's going to make his money. So why not? I think I could get with Russell Gage this year with Mr. Tom Brady. But last year, man, he was on a carton of milk. And y'all know what kind of milk that was.
Yeah, I know Willie knows what kind it is. Seems like he's frozen up. You know he'd be chiming in here. All right. let's
He looks
talk about.
He looks focused.
He's very intent.
I wish I could draw a mustache on the screen.
Willie's like very intense here about the Buccaneers. All right, let's talk about the team that Russell Gage just left, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Atlanta here, Matt Ryan gone, Marcus Mariota starting, Desmond Ridder coming in, and he's going to want to play sooner than later. I don't know if he's capable. Kyle Pitts, the unicorn, flashed at points last year, but then again, lost at other times. You're talking about the fact that this is a team without Calvin Ridley that really suffered because they were lacking that threat. They bring in Brian Edwards, Swami. They get rid of Mike Davis. Cordero Patterson is there. It just seems like this team is a mess.
I think they get better because they can't get any worse than last year, right? I think they're better than last year. I think Mariota is probably going to play a little bit better for them. I think bringing in Drake London. I think Pitts being in the offense another year. Like you said, if they still got that playmaker, he was like an X factor, wild card. He was doing it all for him. Remember how we talked about swag last week? I think he gives that team some energy. And I think that's the kind of energy they could use to kind of build some momentum. Wall seemed like he could use some of that energy right now.
I know. Who knows where he is? It's missing. All right, let me ask you about Cordero Patterson, Swami. They figured out a way to use him. They figured out a way to use him beautifully, right? He was a DFS darling. He was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where Willie is. I'm trying to get him in the stream. I can't. But do you think lightning can strike twice? Do you think Patterson can have another good year? It feels to me like this is Cinderella. It's midnight. I just don't know if I see it again.
He just played so hard, right? He was putting his team in a position to be able to score points. He didn't care how he was doing it, converting first downs. Willie is just milk. He was coming out of the backfield. He was playing some at receiver. He was on special teams. When you get a guy like that who is willing to play wherever, who is willing to take, a couple of plays at wide receiver, then come back the next drive and play the primary ball carrier in the backfield. I just don't see how you don't continue to use him as a weapon. I think more teams are going to do stuff like that.
Well, I mean, look at what the Giants did. The Giants bring in Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, he was a running back in Nebraska. I mean, you try to use him in multiple ways. I think you're right on that. I think that teams looked at what Patterson did and say, how can we find our own Patterson, who was a true offensive weapon? But I think that Atlanta, though, just has such a lack of talent in the receiving corps, Swami. Brian Edwards is a retread from the Raiders. I mean, there's potential, but Zacchaeus Ridley's gone for a year. I mean, that is a huge blow for this team because Kyle Pitts now is going to see double coverage like he did last year.
Agreed. And if Ridley would have been coming back, they would have been at least having something that you'd be interested in from a fantasy perspective because you know that he's going to get open. And then if Mariota could find him, but without him being in there, you're just not really sure what you're going to get, especially if the team isn't like in the ball games, right? I just don't know if is this going to be one-on-ones where the pace is just slow and they're just saying, hey, we know we're not going to be out here winning games, but let's just not get ran out of the gym. Let's try to put up some points, give our fans something to cheer about. I don't know if they come out like that or if they come out with a lot of energy and saying, hey, we know we don't have, some of the players that they might have and some of the other teams in this division. But guess what? We're pro ball players, and we're going to come out and we're going to work hard every week to come out and try not to, just get the doors blown off. So if they come out and play hard, Doc, I mean, why not?
All right, let's talk about a team that is very confusing to me, the New Orleans Saints. I feel badly, Drew Brees, I'm coming back. He's not coming back. We all know he's not coming back. They have Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, Kamara, there's some issues there. Michael Thomas, is he going to play this year? You've got Chris Olave, who I think we both like as a receiver. But there's just a lot of things going on with the Saints the defense is good, but the offense is certainly not all there. Do we trust the Saints? Are they a playoff team by any stretch of the imagination?
I don't think they are, say, week one. But because of the way their defense has been playing, especially playing against Tampa, who's considered to be the favorite over there, if they can get anything going on offense, and they got some weapons, right? We all acknowledge that they got some weapons, right? And they bringing in Chris, and we didn't get a chance to see what Mike had last year, but now he's back. And then you obviously got the stud in Kamara, so it makes you think that if they can get something going, if they could find a way to start clicking, and then Winston's maybe completing a couple of deep balls a game and opening it up for the offense, you could see, but I can't say week one that they're a playoff team. I got to see them put something on the field.
Let me ask you this, Swami. Jameis Winston, when he plays in Tampa, throws for over 5,000 yards. They let him open up. They let him throw the ball downfield. Did he even throw the ball downfield more than once a game last year? They just threw the reins on that guy and said, we're not going to let you lose games for us. The guy was throwing for like 120 yards a game. I didn't even look like Jameis Winston out there.
But I also thought, the receivers weren't healthy. It was just like they were missing 2 or 3 guys every week. I just wasn't really sure if it was all him, but I did notice that they definitely pulled the reins back. And then I think they were just leaning on the backs maybe a little bit too much. I think they were trying to do that gadget stuff with Taysom Hill. I just didn't think worked well last year with him either at running back or in the red zone. So hopefully this year we see less of that. And if they're going to use him more like Cordell Patterson, right? Just have him coming in, give him a package, give him some plays that he run, and just have him doing things out the backfield. I don't care if it's jet sweeps. I don't care if you having some bunch of trickeration going on, reverse fake pass, toss backs, any of that, but just don't keep swapping him in and out every other drive or just all the red zone possessions.
All right, you're picking 7th. You're in the first round. Alvin Kamara is there. You drafting him?
Oh, wow.
Because I don't think I am. I don't think I'm taking Kamara. How about that? I just get this feeling, where this is the year I don't want him. This feels like the year I don't want Alvin Kamara.
When you're talking PPR, though, I mean, other than the guy in Carolina, what running back are you taking ahead of him? I just
Jonathan
don't think
Taylor. I'm taking maybe Dalvin Cook. I
PPR?
probably would take McCaffrey over him. I would take a receiver.
Sure,
I'll take a receiver. Why do I need to take Kamara? I'll take a running back around 2 or 3.
McCaffrey for sure, but not the other 2 guys in PPR.
You're not taking Jonathan Taylor over Alvin Kamara? Call my office for an appointment right now. You're not taking Dalvin Cook over Kamara?
No, you got me there. I would, only because I just feel like their offense is on better spots. But if and I know this is a big if Kamara is able to get the kind of usage that he was getting, he will be right there with those guys. Maybe not ahead of them, but right there in that group.
But that was with Drew Brees, dude. This is Jameis Winston.
If
this team is not putting up 24 points a game.
Yeah. But Doc, if they don't use him like that, they don't give themselves a shot anyway.
Well, that's probably true. But we don't even know if they're going to use him that way. I don't trust Dennis Allen. I don't trust this coaching. I trusted Sean Payton and Kyle Shanahan as 2 of the best play callers in all of football. Did I wake up this morning and say Dennis Allen was a great play caller?
Okay, fair. Because I think in this situation, what you just described again with Kamara, but I just feel like he still is going to have some fantasy value, especially in season long. And if it's not at pick 7, it's definitely somewhere in that top 12 picks for sure.
Oh, he's a first-round pick. I'm just saying it doesn't feel like a pick that I'm going to make this year. I would take – I just can't imagine me taking him. I just – there's just some guys I know I'm not going to take.
My first round, I need an anchor. I need somebody I feel like is going to be on a team that's going to put up some points. And when I say, I'm looking for somebody in that top whatever at their position at least. I don't know if he'll be in that top 3 right now. Like sure, I wouldn't be willing to bet, more than a cup of coffee on it right now. But if for whatever reason, because I don't think any of those other guys are going to be there at 7. So it's like you said at 7, and then you put these guys who I think going to go 1, 2, 3 potentially, and it's like, why would they be competing with him at 7? Like why is Jonathan Taylor still there?
All right, give me a second. Just give me a second. Would you take Eckler over Kamara?
It's a better offense. I feel like they're going to score a lot more points. I have to.
Okay. Would you take Najee Harris over Kamara?
The way they used him last year with a quarterback that couldn't throw, even having a guy with a half of an arm, you would think Harris would get similar usage.
Okay. Would you take Derrick Henry over Kamara?
Henry still is one of the top guys for me.
Okay, so you have Taylor, McCaffrey, Eckler, Harris, Henry, Cook. I'm taking Cook. That's 6. Now, hold on a second. Would you take Cooper Kupp over him?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Would you take Justin Jefferson over him?
I think so, but that's close because I know me just for the way I pick. Kupp is different for me. Kupp is 100 reception kind of guy.
So it's Justin Jefferson.
But Kupp's offense and the way they use him and go to him in the red zone and everything else, Kupp is still has the potential to go for 1,700, 1,800 yards. 15
Are you taking
touchdowns.
Jamar Chase over Kamara?
Let me tell you why. Can I give my why, Doc? Let me give my why.
I want your why.
Because I feel the reason I look at those running backs first, because you're going to run out of those running backs before you're going to run out of that top 10 or 15 receivers. And I just feel like if I take Jamar and I'm just throwing another name out there. I know Kupp. Let's say Tyreek Hill. I'm just putting 2 names together. And then when that comes back around, your running backs are going to be guys splitting carries at that point. So at least, I would start to look at, let me get my running backs out the way. And so typically I'm going to take running backs in those first couple of rounds over receivers.
I mean this in the best way. You're not beating me in any seasonal league. Not with that mindset. Not with that mindset. You may be beating me in DFS, but you're not beating me in a seasonal league with that mindset because I think it's the old school of give me a running back. Because I think in today's NFL, right? Today's NFL, running backs they split carries. Mm-hmm. 20 touches is a lot. Meanwhile, these receivers are catching 8, 9, 10 balls a game. If you're in a PPR league, you could go 10 for 90, and that's 19 points. You find the end zone once, boom, you're at 26.
Doc, you finding yourself making my point, though. Because it is a bunch of guys splitting.
Give me a receiver.
It is a bunch of guys splitting carries. So once you get past that first handful of guys, you really don't know what you're getting. So you have to at least get the guy you know is going to get in there, who's going to get 15, 20 touches every week because you don't know what you're getting once you get past those first couple 10.
Could I take DeAndre Swift in round 2? Could I take Saquon Barkley in round 2? Could I take Justin Jefferson and James Conner?
I'm not taking Saquon Barkley, me personally, in round 2. Not the way that offense looks. I would absolutely be interested in Swift. They got something going on over there that I really like in Detroit. But I'm not taking Saquon Barkley number 2. Maybe if he fell.
I didn't say number 2 overall. I meant in round 2.
Yeah, round 2. I'm not taking him in round 2. Of course.
If you're picking 2, you're picking 2 overall. You take Cooper Kupp as your second overall pick. You're now picking 23. Are you taking Javonte Williams or Saquon Barkley?
See, if you say 2, Doc, I'm being honest. I am probably somewhere where one of them other guys that we talk about. I'm not taking Kupp 2, not even the PPR, because I still feel like I want to have somebody like Jonathan Taylor who's going to be an anchor in there.
Taylor's going 1. Taylor's going 1.
Then give me King Henry.
All right. Okay. I can't tell you no on King.
But let's go with your scenario. I took Kupp, number 2, is coming back down, and who's there?
Are you taking Javonte Williams or Saquon Barkley?
No, for sure.
For sure. You're not taking Javonte Williams at 23.
No, I'm not. It's all right. Now watch this. You saying coming back down. What's some of the folks who I might look at? Now, I don't know who's here. So it's all hypothetical now who's there. So now I'm asking you, are you taking him over Mahomes?
I'm not taking a quarterback till round 9.
Okay, yeah. So all quarterbacks not cut the same. Some guys
I
give
will
you
not.
30,
I
40
promise you this. I promise you, if I'm in 20 leagues this year, which I will be in probably around 20, yeah, I will take a quarterback before round 5 and maybe 2, and only if that quarterback's name is Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. Otherwise, I'm not
I'm about
touching
to
it.
ask you, how would having Saquon Barkley over the last 2 years make more sense than Josh Allen? I'm confused. How? I'm gonna
Okay,
pass up
so
40
wait,
points a week to
I'm
go
glad.
to
I'm glad
pure
you're confused.
utter
Let me.
milk.
You know where I'm going to go? I am going to go to drroto.com. I'm going to look at the rankings. Okay. I'm going to look at quarterback rankings, and I'm going to just throw out something to you here. Okay. I'm not telling you Josh Allen is not terrific, but what if I told you that I could have Jalen Hurts maybe 7 rounds later? Are you telling me that Jalen Hurts can't get me 20 some odd fantasy points a week?
I think
And
so.
I can load up on running backs and receivers?
I think he'll give you 20. The reason why I look to get those anchors, as I call it, I'm gonna let you in on some secret sauce, Doc, because I've managed season long like DFS. I'm playing every week. I'm not playing names again, except for those handful of guys. I'm playing matchups.
Right.
I'll be in free agency before I'm just sitting there playing a Saquon Barkley just because I drafted him number 2. So
Right.
I'm not married to these players in that way. So I'm not necessarily looking. That's why I need my studs and my anchors. I'm not worried about because I'm not setting a quarterback in there and playing him for 16 weeks. He might not even play most of the time unless his name is Allen.
I'm just telling you the best high stakes players, the people that are cashing 6 figures, none of them are drafting quarterbacks early. They're drafting quarterbacks in those mid rounds, the Jalen Hurtses, the Derek Carrs, the Lamar Jacksons this year. Matthew Stafford, dude, I took Matthew Stafford in round 9 of every draft last year.
No, Doc, as you know, it depends on your league and the way your league draft. I've seen where folks start off one way, you see a run on players, and next thing you know, folks kind of adjust. Depends on if it's PPR, depends
That's
on
true.
if it's 4 point or half point. And so it always changes. I typically play in one league, the BCS, the League of Champions. So if you dominate your fantasy league, you come on over to the BCS and you play with the League of Champions. You
All right, you
dominate
let
your
me know the
league.
next time a team is needed. I will come in and
Doc,
take my shot. I'll take my shot.
We'll figure it out. But what happens is, depend on, again, not just the scoring and all that kind of stuff, but how the other folks play. And typically, I notice that everybody has a different style. Some folks, like you said, they love those guys. So it'll be a run on those players. So I know who won't be there. And I can
Right.
typically
You always know your league better, right? You know your league. You know what your league wants.
I can almost predict the first 3, 4, 5 players that I'm going to get and where folks are going to go. Like, that's pretty good every year. That gives me an advantage when I can predict those first 3, 4, 5 rounds. Not after that, if people start taking kickers and deep, it gets nuts after those first 5 or 6. I'm telling you, it goes crazy.
It's off the rails. All right, let's focus on the last team in the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers. I think Matt Rule is the first coach who's going to get fired this year. I think if they don't bring in a quarterback really soon named Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo, Sam Darnold stinks, Matt Corral stinks. But you have, Swami, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have DJ Moore, you have Robbie Anderson, you have Terrace Marshall, who they barely used. There are pieces in place here for this team to be successful, but I just don't think they have the right leadership in place nor a quarterback.
So I guess you don't like the guy they brought in from Mississippi, Matt
Corral?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think there's athleticism, but he can't run a pro offense.
I think they brought somebody in, and to me, if they didn't have a lot of picks, so that was their second pick. He was a 3rd round pick. And so they went up to address their need at tackle. They got to get better. I always say at the interior first. And so you bring in somebody, maybe he competes. If he's able to win a job or even push the starter or that whole quarterback room to get a little bit better. But it's not. I don't think that that quarterback is one of those positions where you can just say we don't have a guy or we can't win unless we got a Brady. Quarterback has to be one of those things where they say, hey, we're going to put an offense around the quarterback that's going to work best for him, the pieces that we have, and they got to put together something that's going to work for the team and for the quarterback that they have. You just can't say we need Brady.
You may disagree with me. I really like Mac Jones from the Patriots. I really do.
Okay.
And I think when Mac Jones was in Alabama, they won a national championship because he had pieces. If you put a Mac Jones in Carolina with McCaffrey and DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Marshall, I think that team would be fine. I just don't think Sam Darnold is that guy. I don't think Corral is that guy. I think if you had Tua, if you had anybody who was just that next level up, Kirk Cousins would be fine. I just think Sam Darnold has struggled. And how does this team not go more than winning 4 games? I don't picture it.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of wins. I think the defense might help them out. And if they can, again, not turn the ball over and the defense can continue to make some progress, because they play well. Again, a lot of the teams in this division, Tampa Bay defense is kind of sneaky, caused turnovers, dominating the playoffs when they won the Super Bowl. You had the Saints defense, pretty sneaky. They was dominant and really shut down Brady and a few teams during the year. You had the Carolina defense that was pretty good, solid, turn the ball over. They had some huge fantasy weeks last year. And then you had the Falcons, who seemed to play hard. They still found some way to lose, but they played hard and even some weeks played well enough for them to even steal a couple of games. But I just don't think you can say that if you just drop one. I mean, I agree with you that sometimes it's a matter of putting some pieces around them, but some of these quarterbacks got pieces around them, and they still just aren't very good, or at least the offense, and they're not winning games. They got getting better. But your case in point would be Matt Stafford.
Right. You put him on a better team, and he really took off. I think it's coaching, Swami. It always comes down to coaching. The great coaches find a way to take players and make them better. And I think that's going to be the thing that people see in, for example, the Giants. When you say Saquon Barkley, I'm with you. But I think the Giants will be better because the coaching is better. Josh Allen was coached up the last couple of years, and he got better, right? So if you have the right coaching in place, you can succeed. I don't think Matt Rule is that guy, and I think that's the problem in Carolina.
I agree. I'll give you another example. A lot of folks think the Bengals have some kind of way taken over the AFC. I personally think it was a Cinderella story. They got some bounces. They got a couple plays go their way. They had a kicker who just made some big kicks in big games. But they really, again, the quarterback got sacked too much. He was under pressure. He got hit too much. That's a bad formula. And that's one of the ones where next year we could be seeing this guy with his bell rung, sitting on the sideline, and they're right back to being the Bengals that they were, before last year.
But can I tell you something? I'm going to go back to coaching. At the end of the first half against the Chiefs, you would have all thought that the Chiefs would have won and been in the Super Bowl. But the Bengals come back in the second half and play well. The Bengals came in the second half of every playoff game and played better. That is good coaching to me. And that separates the teams that win and the teams that lose is those adjustments that you make at halftime.
Yeah. I'm not on one for coaching. I definitely see the adjustments. I don't know, just the feeling of that game. It felt, for an example, I felt like Buffalo lost the game more than I felt like Kansas City won the game. So sometimes it's just, I can't really describe that part of it in a way that it would, that rule would be in place no matter what. Like it seemed like it would change depending on the team, the situation, et cetera. But for the most part, I do think that coaching is makes the difference. And that's why you see Andy Reid have success. He can have 3, 4, 5 different quarterbacks. And then, some teams, it don't matter. They could go through 3, 4, 5 different quarterbacks and still can't seem to get anything done. And it comes out of coach. And you see the play calling. I felt like the Eagles, when they went and won a Super Bowl, It was just they were play calling and the way that they were running the game, the adjustments, they were just making plays. That play that they called, that throwback to Foles in a Super Bowl.
It was
Are
great.
you kidding me?
Great.
Are
Right.
you kidding? Where do you see
The great
that?
teams make those plays when they need to. And that's
Right.
what I'm saying is, do I believe that the Falcons can do that in this division? No. Do I believe that the Saints can do that in this division? No. Do I believe the Panthers can do that? No. Do I believe Tom Brady can with Leftwich? Yes, which is why Tampa Bay is going to win this division.
Exactly. And again, using my Ravens for an example, all year they have an offense. Last couple of seasons that was just, tearing up the record books, blowing away this many 100-yard games. Quarterback this many yards rushing. They get into the playoffs, lose the same way. My brother this weekend was hanging out with Coach Harbaugh. I would have hoped they would have been talking about the Ravens, what we're going to do. It's unlikely. Right, it's unlikely that's what happened. But I would have wished that would have happened while they were enjoying the Preakness. But what I will say is that when you see the Ravens get into the playoffs and lose the same way,
Right.
I think that's coaching. That's coaching.
Agreed. All right. Next week, we're going to talk AFC South. And hopefully next week, we'll have Willie Walls back with us and no more technical difficulties.
He is pure milk. Sir, wherever you are school on holiday weekends. No, just like your service, you suck.
Ooh, easy. All right. For the great Swami, I'm Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Take care. Willie!
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.
To the right now, you suck.